we're exploring the changes of the leaves in New England, a reminder of changes over time. How we got here is less important than why we are wandering now. The previous episode described our explorations of Carlsbad Caverns and the Spanish missions of San Antonio. We were reminded that our public lands can help us better understand our cultural roots and who we are as a nation. As we headed toward New England, our goal was to observe the changing of the autumn leaves as we visited many family members along the way. We were reminded that nature provides us a metaphor for understanding of our own lives. The changes of the leaves and the changes of the seasons help us better understand changes over time. As we left Texas, we first were on our way to visit our daughter and her partner in Ohio. The roads through Arkansas, Tennessee, and Kentucky were smooth. And while we clocked away the miles and paid for it in gas prices, we saw frost on pepper for the first time. Our first sign that the seasons are changing and winter is coming. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources has some lovely public lands, such as West Branch State Park, where we spent a couple of nights and enjoyed some great hiking and appreciated our first immersion into the leaves as they were changing color. I observed the different colors of green, yellow, orange, red, and brown. At a micro scale, an individual leaf may contain many of these colors at the same time. At a macro scale, a forest can also celebrate these colors on a grander scale. I was reflecting on the changes that have gone on in our lives as we have moved through the seasons, and seen the changes in our daughter as she has moved into adulthood, into her own home, and started her own career. Somewhere in these reflections, I noticed the wind on the water. It was like a quiet whisper from nature, the way she communicates to us in the most subtle of languages. The whisper was just a little too quiet for me to understand that subtle message. On a different day, we visited a local park. As I was painting, I observed the still water, and I noticed that like a mirror, it reflected the changing leaves from above. I considered how, if we still our own minds, we might better be able to hear the whispering lessons from nature. A day in Cuyahoga National Park, Ohio's only national park, had a beautiful display of still water reflecting the changing leaves. It also introduced us to the element of stone and its interaction with water, from slow dripping chasms to rushing waterfalls eroding stone cliffs by the gentle power of water over time. As the theme of changes over time continued to play in my mind everywhere we went, I wondered what changes Lara and I were going through, and where those changes might lead us as we are wandering now. As we left Maddie and Will to head further east, we spent the night camping in a location with a front row view of the Ohio River. The morning fog floated on the surface of the calm water. The gentle ripples and sunlight flares made for a peaceful cup of morning coffee. Fallen leaves were hiding in Pepper's crevasses, trying to hitch a ride into the unknown. We headed to OK Four-Wheel Drive in Stewartsville, New Jersey for the installation of a heater to keep us warm during these autumn nights. During the day of installation, we bicycled into Pennsylvania to visit our nephew Liam. Returning to Pepper the next day, we got to enjoy not just the warmth of our heater, but the visual beauty of this new marine fireplace. Watching the dancing flames in our new fireplace was calming to the mind. As we headed toward New England, we spent the night at the Harvest Host of Stone Lake Winery in Mount Bethel, Pennsylvania. The Douglas family, who runs the business, taught us the basics of bottling, and we got to spend some time with these lovely people helping out the family business. The fireplace kept us warm at night, and when we awoke in the morning, the frost told us that our fireplace had been installed none too soon. Winter was coming. Upon entering Connecticut, we reached New England. After visiting my childhood home in Westport, we went to visit family in Norwalk, where we were welcomed by a sign made by our niece Layla. We spent a few days visiting with family Liam, Kieran, and sister Sarah. We had a wonderful dinner with our stepmother Linda, and at the locally famous Bloodroot vegetarian restaurant and bookstore, my eye was caught by a poster providing clear instructions for how to live a plain life. After a short visit with my stepsister Tara in Bethel, Connecticut, we began to search for some of the best overlanding New England has to offer. So it was back to a simpler life for us in nature as we headed toward Vermont's Green Mountains National Forest. The goal was to once again go deep into nature, where civilization is so far in the distance that it cannot silence the sound of the earth's wisdom when she quietly speaks. We stilled our minds with the quiet activities of a simpler life. Cutting wood for fire, painting natural scenery, crochet, watching the sun set, cooking nutritious food, enjoying delicious meals, cleaning dishes, the treat of hot chocolate, watching the fire burn into the night, and reading before a good night's sleep. While our home may be a small truck, we have a big backyard. The Hiker Responsibility Code and the principles of Leave No Trace made me consider their guidance for living life with a little more peace and harmony. We registered to enter wilderness territory, our most carefully protected of all public lands. Trail hiking can become a meditative practice as we consider each step taken. And carefully observe our surroundings and consider the processes of nature. It was time to travel into the front country again and visit more family, this time in Massachusetts. The front country, while it has many things we appreciate, is also a stark contrast to the back country. Pepper was confined to a parking lot. Human construction can dominate the landscape. Rules and signals direct our walking. Locks and fences restrict the flow of nature. History is engraved in stone. Commercialism can reign supreme. Traditional craftsmanship struggles to survive. Small patches of nature can still inspire powerful messages. Now to Massachusetts, where most of my family lives. Our first stop was Needham to see my sister and brother-in-law, Rebecca and Craig. They graciously arranged for an evening with our longtime friends David and Heather. I accepted Craig's exciting invitation to an adventure-filled day at a great mountain bike park. After a lesson on basic techniques, we hit the trails to enjoy the freedom that comes from combining gravity, the wheel, forest, mountain, sun, and crisp autumn air. Our next stop was Carver to see my sister and brother-in-law, Debbie and Peter. We were fortunate enough to be joined by my nephew Colin and his wife Rain and their baby Quinn. We then headed to Plymouth to see my father and his partner Melody. Melody, who is an experienced docent at the New Bedford Whaling Museum, gave us a personal tour, and we learned a great deal about the interaction between humans and the ocean. We spent a day driving the length of Cape Cod, discovering some obstacles along the way, and had a great walk on the Cape Cod National Seashore. As the waves washed on and off the shore, I thought about how the years come and go, and we move through different phases of our lives. Pepper's first time on a boat was our trip to Martha's Vineyard for Thanksgiving. At my mom and stepdad's home, joined by Rebecca and Craig and our son Forrest. It was our first Thanksgiving in America in 16 years. I also had a great one-on-one visit with my stepbrother David. As we took goodbye photos, I was once again moved by my stepfather's illness and the challenges our parents and all of us eventually face in the later stages of life. As I looked at Pepper in the driveway, I noticed my parents' full-size permanent residence in the background. A home artfully planned and crafted in a traditional vineyard shingle design, with a matching hand-crafted post and beam garage. It regularly received compliments from neighbors on horseback riding in the adjacent meadow. It was a property reflective of a lifetime of care to create a beautiful home with loving memories. Our legacies are about so much more than just our property developed over time, or the numbers that could never fully explain who we are, or the name by which we were known. Our legacies must reflect the path that we walked in life, the support we gave to others when they were weak and needed rest, the music we made, like the songs of the birds, the love and togetherness we shared throughout our lives. Our legacy is not fixed, like a bird frozen in flight, a sailboat frozen in time, or even a single statement of natural beauty. But our legacies remain alive because we are all part of a branch of a much larger tree. And the whisper of the grasses reminds us that we are part of something far greater than ourselves, which includes the cycle of life and death, and can make us wonder what might be beyond the time of our own lives and beyond what we might never know. It was time to say goodbye and take the ferry off island. As the ferry pulled away from the dock, I observed the complex patterns of the swirling of the boat's wake in the ocean water. We had seen so many members of my family, and I thought about the swirling of our lives and how we have all changed over time. Like the changes of the leaves and the changes of the seasons, the changes in our own lives follow the patterns of the cycle of life. Like the flow of water from mountain streams, our lives flow continuously through time. And like the mountain streams eventually reach the ocean, our lives eventually reach a point where we are a small part of something so much larger than ourselves. We may leave a significant wake, but those ripples eventually fade away into the horizon of infinity and are absorbed by the depths of eternity. With a quieter mind, I stared into the depths of the ocean and more clearly heard the message that nature had been whispering to me all along. When we consider the ideas of infinity and eternity, we must realize how we are all just wandering now.
Figuring out how things work for the first time. Finding joy and sadness at every turn. Late nights, closing eyes at the same time. That my brain is lost in a quest to find a word. Light shines through windows as I wake up. I wonder where that comes from. Interests always seem to be there, but everything seems so far away.